Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast. Trevor, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Cody isn't here.
What's you doing?
I don't know. He's apparently at OKC going to a concert or something. So, good for him. Hope he enjoys it. And he'll be back next week, and we will have our debate with Jeremiah, I believe, after that. But
we'll see.
But for tonight, he's back, Trevor.
Who?
I'm going to play the clip I already told you about before the show, but this is the gimmick, so we're running with it.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Who am I talking about? Brandon Biggs. Brandon Biggs. I thought we were done. Trevor. I was like, I've said my piece. I'm not sure if he's a prophet or not. You and Cody made it clear you didn't think he was a prophet. And I was like, okay, I think we've chased it. But then he was on Alex Jones. I wasn't looking for him.
When was he on Alex Jones?
The 17th. Now, I get my news. At least one of the places I get my news is Alex Jones. So I wasn't looking for him. I was on, band.video, and he just pops up. And then he's talking about warnings regarding Inauguration Day on Monday.
Oh, fun.
And I'm like, Brandon Biggs, Alex Jones, Inauguration Day. Well, I've got to.
Are you going to watch that?
The inauguration? Yes. If our show, when I had my old YouTube show, A Renegade Reason, I did a live reaction to the whole inauguration. If the show is not political, so I don't think we probably will, but I would like to. I would like to react to the inauguration. Cool.
What time is it?
Could. I don't know when it is. Hang on a minute. Let me look.
Because we might just do that. Just do a live.
An apolitical inauguration reaction. Huh.
Yes.
What time? Stop telling me game day. Okay, so traditionally it's January 20th at no, this is the time. January 20th at 11 a.m. So it's at 11 a.m. I don't think that would time for you. You got work, don't you?
Yes, I'll be at work.
Yeah.
But I could listen to it with you.
Nah.
I just wouldn't really be able to chat with you.
No, I think there are much more reliable people to listen to that too. So, I don't know, man. But Brandon Biggs is talking about the inauguration, and he's got prophecies. He's got prophecies about it. So,
What are they?
Well, I'm going to let him say it, because first I'm going to find them on the video, and this is the beauty of being a producer. I guess we'll start from the beginning, and if we get bored, I'll try to find the actual spot where he says the prophecies, because they begin with straightforward introductions, and then they get into what's going to happen. We're talking fertilizer bombs and things like that. So we'll see how this goes.
He is the pastor who precisely predicted Trump getting shot in the ear 3 months before it happened.
I wouldn't use the word precisely. I kind of think that's what we've all been arguing about. He was close. He got close. He got the ear right. But yeah, close.
Close. It all perfectly. He warns of orchestrated attacks on Trump's inauguration and iconic properties in detail. He also accurately predicted and prophesied the latest terror attack in New Orleans.
Again, close. It was New Orleans and Las Vegas were among a list of cities.
Oh, yeah.
And I gave him, we talked about this last week. I gave him New Orleans, Las Vegas, and I gave him Nashville because they specifically prayed against Nashville, but there were other cities that nothing has happened as of yet. So it was among a list of cities. But it's still a simultaneous attack in two cities It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good. Like I was before, if we'd had more time, remind me, I am going to try to do this. I suck at math, but I'm going to try. I want to know what the statistical odds of predicting 2 simultaneous attacks in 2 cities on the same day, like getting those 2 cities right amongst all the cities. Like, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to calculate it. I just don't know how to do it. I'm going to have to look up how to do it. But you, like, calculate the number of cities he predicts versus the number of cities there are in America, and he's got to get 2 right. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but it's above my pay grade. Anyway, it was unlikely is the point. So close, but not exact. And that's been the theme with Brandon Biggs. Close, but not exact.
But not as exact.
And then there's been some stuff that he gets very wrong as well. People keep saying that he's like deleting his videos on YouTube. I have not seen that. I know the accusation gets thrown around, but I'm a little dubious about it. Because I know, for example, Mike Winger got at least 1 link on his video wrong. And so I'm wondering if maybe there was some confusion caused by that. I don't know. But I'm a little dubious about him deleting his stuff. But I don't know. So maybe somebody can verify whether, like, where Winger got that, or where that rumor started, or what video are they referring to, or something. Maybe some more details would be good. Anyway, all right, I'm done interrupting for a little bit. We're going to watch this.
And now, Brandon Biggs, last days on YouTube, last days 247 on X, joins us. And I've been honest with the listeners about this. I'm very humble about it. I am given prophetic information as well. I've demonstrated that. And the Bible tells us in the end times, when the Antichrist power is released, God will release his people as well, and that our gifts will be made stronger if we humble ourselves. And I don't know. I absolutely know that's what's happening right now. I don't feel that. I know that. God is at number 1. God is everything. So, Pastor Biggs, thank you for joining us. We're going to break in about 6 minutes, but we'll come back after that. You've got the floor with what you'd like to impart to folks here.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. It's an honor. The Lord told me 3 days ago that you were going to call, and he said, Brennan, I'm going to have you go on there and tell them what's coming. And so I waited, and then when your lady reached out to us on Thursday, I was like, wow, Lord, you're so amazing. So it's an honor to be here. And so whatever you want to know, you can ask me anything.
Well, just... we've already posted your 11-minute report or warning, and obviously
I'm looking something up, so let me know
but I've seen
if you want to say something.
Power of how he works in mysterious ways. Did you get the feel from the message that this is a warning to stop it from happening, or was it that it's going to happen?
Well, the Lord told me to start the YouTube channel 2 years ago, and then he gave me new instructions for this year, and he said, you are to create a prayer army of people to come on and change things through prayer. And he said, I'm commissioning you to raise up 1 million people to do this. And so I've just been telling people that we're going to pray for Trump. He can't do this on his own. And this is going to take a lot of work, not just in the physical, but in the spiritual for what's coming. I've seen a massive storm trying to come upon our shores from coast to coast. And I'm telling you all, if you're not ready and you're not watching, I mean, I know Alex is pretty in tune for what's coming, but I'm just telling you all, there's a storm coming. And so it's going to take people believing God and standing on the wall, like a watchman on the wall, standing in the gap for what's coming and praying against this, because I'm telling you all, I've seen a lot. And so, I don't know if you want me to get into it.
Please, you got the floor.
Okay. This was back a couple weeks ago. I was praying, and so I was praying for the inauguration. Our team of people, we have 500,000 people now that are praying for President Trump and praying for this nation. And so in this vision, I mean, when this happens, I don't know when it's going to happen. The Lord just starts showing me things, and my ears get hot with fire, and so all of a sudden it's like a movie screen comes before me. And most people go, that sounds so crazy, but in the natural mind, if you're thinking in the natural, it is crazy. But this is the things of the spirit are not natural, of course. So what I'm seeing is when I'm just praying in the spirit, you know, and I'm asking the Lord, I said, "Is there anything you want to show me? Is there anything coming?" And all of a sudden, I just seen like I'm saying, like this movie screen, and he just started showing me like he did for Trump's ear, and he warned me, you know, that the bullet would fly by, and everybody thought, well, you know, his eardrum didn't bust. But when you're looking into a vision and you're seeing something, I'm just describing the best of my ability what I'm seeing with the blood flowing down his ear. So I thought, oh, his eardrum busted because I didn't know the bullet was going to graze his ear like that. I just saw the bullet fly right by his ear and the blood started flowing down. So I was putting something together, you know, with my natural mind of what I'm seeing in a vision of saying.
All right, so we talked about that, how he always, like, you know, he explained that he basically saw the bullet go by but not hit him. Yeah. So we need Cody going, this is ridiculous, because we need a debate. We don't have him right now, so we'll have to. But I think he was done with the Brandon Big stuff anyway. Anyway, I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. Yeah, he says he's seeing stuff, but then he basically adds things to it, and that's why he gets stuff wrong. That's kind of been his story.
Hey, Jen, welcome back.
Hello.
It's Jen 21629. She's back.
Oh, well.
On a live stream. She just said hello.
Well, hello there.
Yeah, that guy freaks me out. She said that.
Oh, about Biggs? Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's the demeanor. And I think a lot of this is, you know, the guy has this kind of animated demeanor, and I think that makes people kind of want to distrust him. So, I don't know.
She said thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, that's not enough. I'm trying to figure out, like, the details. Like, I just don't know what else to say other than to repeat myself with this guy. It's how, okay, yes, he's getting stuff wrong. That's definitely happening. But how do you explain the stuff that he's getting right? And what are the odds that he could actually get something right? And I just find myself scratching my head over that. Because yes, there are false prophets, and we've talked a lot about false prophets on this show. What exactly is a false prophet? Is it somebody who just gets visions wrong? Is it somebody who gets visions wrong and, like, has bad doctrine? You had a comment that you were saying before the show, something about false prophets. They're basically all preaching good times and selling hopium type of thing.
Yeah, they say, they get on there and they say what people want to hear to make themselves look good, and then they gain a lot more followers that way, and people want to, you know, they want the good things, prosperity, and so it's become a popular thing.
Mm-hmm. This guy ain't preaching prosperity, though. He's like preaching fertilizer bombs and economic crashes. So, like, that's not exactly stuff. Yeah, it's not hopium. And he's going to be, if there ain't an economic crash in the next 4 years, he's going to look like an idiot. So, you know, well, I mean, it's not feel good stuff. Like, and if you look at what Benny Hinn did, like, Benny Hinn knew his crowd too. Yeah. It's like when he's sitting there saying the homosexuals are all going to be set on fire in 1993. Complete garbage that was totally wrong, but it sold good to his crowd. You know what I mean? So it's like the hopium is for this crowd, though. I mean, nobody really benefits from economic destruction, you know?
Well, I mean, if you really look at it, a lot of people are already there. You know, their personal lives are already being economically destroyed.
So you think maybe he's basically utilizing the fact that people are already in pain, economically speaking, and so any degree of worsening of the situation could be misconstrued as an economic disaster, perhaps?
Basically, yeah. I mean, if you take a step back and just look at it, um, put them by society. I'm not saying this is like the Great Depression, but the numbers are there, and we're basically going through another Great Depression. It's just not as bad from
I've
certain
heard that.
perspectives.
They just keep monkeying with the numbers, so we don't actually know how bad it is right now. That's the impression I get. It's like, well, there's workforce participation rates, and then there's whether there's part-time jobs and full-time jobs, and the job rates have went up. That's because people are working 6 jobs to buy a loaf of bread type of deal. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that that's probably right. It sounds like a government would lie its butt off and, shift the categories around to hide how bad things are. That's not surprising to me.
Well, I mean, there are certain people, they go to work, they work 3 different jobs, and one is to pay their rent, and then one is to pay for groceries, and then the other one is to pay just to be able to go and watch a movie or something.
Yeah.
Go out and have extra spending money.
Yeah, things are definitely bad now. Remember when I was a kid, you could go to the theater for $20. Now it's like 80. I'm like, how did that happen?
Well, it's because of the popcorn. And you spend $10 on your ticket, and the popcorn is $20.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's nuts.
Jen just said when he started talking about the flags, like the Palestine ones, and then the stuff broke out with the colleges, I was in a whoa moment and chopping heads off. I stopped watching.
Oh, so he showed some violence on the video, and then she stopped watching.
Yeah.
So was he predicting those protests, or like what was the context around that video?
I'm not real sure. I don't remember that one.
See, I haven't followed this guy super close, so I don't know. I just know about that Trump prophecy, and I'm like, yeah, he busted his eardrum. He still got the ear, though. So I've been kind of baffled by it. And it's just an interesting anomaly to me. But,
well, I mean, even if Trump lost his entire ear on that day, there are plastic surgeons who could have recreated that ear that same day. So it doesn't baffle me in the slightest that it stopped bleeding within an hour,
Yeah. Well, I respectfully disagree with Cody, who is not here to defend himself, and so I'm shamelessly rebutting him even though he's not present.
What part are you rebutting?
I do not think the Trump assassination was faked in the respect that Trump did it to look good. I respectfully disagree with our co-host, and I'm like, I find Brandon Biggs being a true, genuine prophet easier to believe than Trump dodging bullets just for a photo op. So,
Yeah.
he can rebut me next week. I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, she said none of it was going on at the time.
Okay, so he did prophesy it. All right.
So, yes, he was predicting.
Interesting. So.
She said, I went down his rabbit hole of stuff. I just couldn't deal with it.
Gotcha.
Then he talked about drones, too, but not how we was seeing them in the sky.
Yeah. Now, I have seen some stuff about him mentioning drones. Let's see, what did he say? I think he said they were like surveying people who didn't have the chip. Like he was referring, like in one instance where he was talking about drones anyway, he was referring to if you didn't have the mark of the beast, the drones would like track you. Like they would fly around and follow you and track you until the, I guess the end of the world SWAT team came and took you away. Or the Antichrist's SWAT team, or however you want to word that. So I remember him talking about drones in that instance.
Yeah. Yeah, she said, yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one. I don't think I've seen much else. The only other thing I really remember him seeing, like really seeing from him, was he's talked about how Neuralink, which is interesting. I bring it up now because he says something about Skynet later in this video, and I don't know if we'll get to it, but we could, so I'm going to bring it up now. He says that the Neuralink is basically going to serve as a drug type of thing, like it's going to zombie people out at the end. So it's like Elon Musk's tech is going to be used for some sort of grand evil purpose to mess with our dopamine and our neural receptors and stuff. So,
well, it's already helped out a lot of people that were devastated by the hurricanes and whatnot. So,
you're talking about I'm gonna get my terms. It's not Neuralink. What's the other? I just blanked. Starlink.
Starlink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me. I'm low blood sugar, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I know Starlink has helped with that. I think people have been kind of freaking out about the Neuralink thing.
You want some coffee?
No, I've got nicotine and stuff that's only for 18-year-olds, caffeine-wise. So I should be fine.
Oh, okay.
Nicotine is fantastic. Don't smoke, though. I can't recommend that. I don't think that. Anyway, I'm digressing.
Don't vape either.
Yeah. Anyway, so people are freaking out about the Neuralink thing, and so he said that the Neuralink is going to mess with the neural receptors in your head and kind of turn you into a zombie type thing. So that's some of his end time stuff. So anyway, that's about all I know as far as I think that's everything I've really seen from him. But anyway, moving on, let's see what he has to say about Jones, or to Jones.
Blood's flowing down his face, his eardrum busted. So you're adding to, so, you know, I'm learning, don't add to or take away from anything what you're seeing. So that being said, this is what I saw coming for, I believe this is not just about the inauguration, folks. This is a lot more than that. This is huge. I saw because he attacked, you know, whenever he assassinated the man in Iraq.
Okay, to take Cody's position, that, boys and girls, if he is a false prophet, would be considered a qualifier. Because if nothing happens in inauguration, or on inauguration day, then he can go, well, it's about more than that. So now you've got him kind of weakening his position a little bit, if he isn't a true prophet. So you got to watch wording like that. So let's see. I mean, I'm not saying he is. Again, still in the, I guess you would, I'm in the I don't know camp, but that is definitely a qualifier.
Assam Sumalani, I guess is his name.
Yeah, the Quds Iranian guy.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever he did that, they're still really upset about this, and so that's what the Lord was showing me is this what they're planning is bigger than terrorist attacks. This is actually an invasion of an act of war for what I believe is coming. It's not like, well, we're saying, well, this is Al Qaeda. This is.
I'm just going to flat out disagree with you.
Well,
no,
people have been
it's
talking
not
about
Iran.
that since like, you know, for a long time. People have been talking about that one.
Well, to quote Cody, sources, high sources, that politician guy. Yeah, no, everybody's been trying to blame Iran. Like, it's not Iran. It's the government. They're trying to start a war for Iran. And if his vision has any... Again. I don't know why they've got it. They're like, they just want to rant so bad. I don't know what it is, but...
I don't remember where I saw it, but one person was talking about how it's from biblical. It's a biblical thing.
Like, what do you mean?
There will be wars from that part of the world, and they're going to take out like other powers and become the one world government.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I just know that the deep state has just been salivating over Iran for forever. And so they're going to, if they can manage to murder the president, they will definitely blame Iran for it.
Yeah. So and Reap said military clergy equals Satan.
Military clergy equals Satan.
Or money sign Atan.
Ah. You're going to have to expound on that because I'm not sure what you mean.
No, the money sign just is for an S.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because I don't know. I don't know if
Gotcha.
Satan will be picked up as bad words or not in the chat.
I don't know. We're going to learn.
I'm find out.
So, yeah, no, I just know that whatever's going on, Iran didn't do it. In fact, Iran backed off and was like, "Look, we're not. If he dies, it wasn't us." You know, so like they made us very clear that they're getting framed and it ain't them, which I believe them. I'm like, look, we're the bad guys, but it's not us this time. We swear. So yeah, it's the deep state. It's not Iran. So I don't know what he's referring to in this vision, and by blaming Iran. But no, if we get there, and I think we will, note how Alex Jones, I don't know if Alex Jones was consciously covering for him. I'm not going to assume his motives. But watch when he finishes and they come back from the break. Notice how Jones reframes the conversation. This was very interesting to me. Not saying he did it on purpose. Don't know the guy's head, but it was very interesting what he does here, because this was certainly incorrect with Jones's interpretation of what's going on. And I tend to agree with Jones on this. Whatever's going on, Iran is not doing it. It's the Fed. But anyway.
Which Fed?
This is actually Iranian.
The Fed. The Fed. Uncle Sam, your buddy. He's the shadowy puppet master.
Government coming over here. They've come across the border. I saw them in tunnels that were being smuggled in by drug traffickers. And I saw tunnels. What the Lord showed me is these metal. It looked like metal-looking structures, and they were underneath the earth, and they were actually going from Mexico into America into these houses, and they were smuggling like they would do for human trafficking and drugs and all that. Well, I saw these men, and there's literally 1,000 of them.
See? Look at his face. I'm not a body language expert, but I have read a book. See those squinty eyes? Those squinty eyes mean, I don't know about you. That's what that means. According to one book I read.
From Alex?
Yeah, look at his eyes. You see how his lips are kind of pursed and he's kind of all scrunched up?
He's trying. He's trying to discern whether or not he's telling the truth.
Yeah, that's I don't know about you, buddy. That's that kind of scent. You can see his radar starting to go up. That is interesting.
I saw over 1,000 men that were being smuggled in, and I'm talking big money. This was not just a little bit of money that I saw that they were paying the drug smugglers and for funding to get over here. But the Lord told me, he said, I want you to focus on fertilizer. And I didn't know what he was saying at the time, because I saw these farming equipment, and I was like, Lord, what are you showing me? And all of a sudden I saw because it was like silos, but he was trying, in a vision, he's trying to show me what's coming. So I saw fertilizer, and the Lord said, I want you to remember Timothy McVeigh and remember what happened in Oklahoma City. And so I saw all this fertilizer for quite a while since they've been here. They've been coming over for a long time now. A little at a time. I've been seeing these men.
Brandon, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We got a hard network satellite break. We're coming right back to you in a few minutes. Please continue. And we got breaking news on this as well. Please stay there, Pastor. Ladies and
okay, so I'm going to skip ahead here.
It's breaking.
Buy Alex Jones's stuff. It actually is pretty good. I do recommend.
You're pretty good.
I don't know anything about silver coins, though.
Ooh. How much are they?
I don't know.
Oh.
I skipped over the ad. All right,
that's right. Okay.
So this limited edition, Battle for the Republic, 2024 on one side, and Inauguration commemoration on the other is powerful. It's made of these prophetic things that have come true. And it's not like he puts out a giant volume of this.
All right, so this is the part I was talking about, and it times out really well because we're about at our first 30 minutes. But notice how Alex Jones, who looked kind of cynical in those last few shots. Trevor, would you affirm that although I am not a body language expert, he does look rather cynical in those last shots?
You can be my body language expert.
Answer the question.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I needed an affirmation. I'm like, I'm not crazy. That is a skeptical person right there. So notice what he does during this, though. Notice how he kind of reframes it, and it shifts the conversation subtly. So just pay attention to this. Now, I'm not saying Jones is lying. I'm not saying anybody's lying. I make no commentary about people's characters. But this is interesting. Like, maybe they disagreed on this and they had a discussion. I don't know.
It's not like it's Nostradamus that would do some vague thing, and 100 years later, something like it. Oh, a king got killed in battle by being shot in the eye. Well, that happened all the time with, crossbows and the rest of it. No, I mean, this is specifically Trump falling down, blood on his ear, getting back up, being a new man after that, going on to win the presidency, all of this. And he's done other similar things. Now, I've seen them pre-programming that Iran is going to attack, so if the deep state kills Trump, they can blame Iran. But separately, and he's just seeing the image. It's up to us, to try to see what we see from that. He doesn't add anything to it, and that's key. I've experienced that myself with some of the similar things that have happened here with myself and people have seen on air. It's been demonstrated. But Biden allowed all these Iranians in. We know they came in, the Quds forces, the Hezbollah, and we know they've come in with the same backpacks, gear. It's come out in the Border Patrol reports that they are Iranian government military. And so we know that the Democrats have had a backroom deal with Iran, gave them tens of billions of dollars. So there's a lot of deep state stuff going on. Did the deep state contract with them for a coming attack? Then we've got helicopters scanned for nuclear irregularities over D.C. The Secret Service prepares for worst-case scenario at inauguration. Now they've moved it inside, they say, for cold weather. You've got these famous Hezbollah-connected people saying, oh, you'll know who I am soon. You've got the attack in New Orleans. Here's a short clip, then we'll go back to the pastor on them scanning for radioactive material, perhaps a nuke, and then it'll be blamed on Iran, or, I mean, we go to war with Iran? I mean, or is Iran involved? Here's a clip.
An exclusive look at how security officials are prepared after months of planning.
So, crane to your left. Got it.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
So you're trying to create a blueprint of what the radiation in Washington, D.C. looks like ahead of the inauguration. Correct.
Department of Energy scientist Jacqueline Brandon calls this low-flying helicopter one of just 2 of its kind, her office.
If we find a radiological irregularity, we'll investigate it even further.
Highly sensitive technology sets off alarms in the air.
That's an alarm. That is an alarm. It's a slight variation in our spectra is what it's saying.
All right, let me add a few other stories and then go right back to him and give him the floor.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of explain what I think was happening there. Obviously, Jones does not think it's Iran. He thinks it's the deep state going to blame Iran. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Go back and listen if you think I'm wrong. But it sounded like Brandon Biggs was trying to make it sound like it was Iran. Like it was going to be Iran. So he had a discrepancy. So Jones, excuse me, kind of reframed it so that it's like, no, it's the deep state going to blame Iran. But Brandon Biggs is only showing you what he's seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you catch that? Am I misreading that?
No, I'm following along. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like was going on to me. So you're going to see... So I'm going to stop there, actually. And then, because I just saw this, because I don't pay very close attention, apparently. But before we end the episode, I want to actually... It looks like they actually clipped out his exact vision. So if you guys want to see the full interview, it's literally... I'm going to read it, even though it's like crazy long. I don't know if they do this for the algorithm or what, but it's full interview. Pastor Brandon Biggs, whose prophetic predictions have shocked the world, warns of impending mass terrorism targeting at least 10 U.S. cities and Trump's inauguration. So really just go to band.video and look for Brandon Biggs' face, and you can see the interview. But there's the title. So there's that. Now I'm going to click over here and see if this actually talks about the main vision. Yes, verify me human, me person. Very James
for just a few more days, every order at thealexjonesstore.com gets a free limited edition.
I saw a blonde woman
Yeah, okay, so let's skip past...
Blonde woman.
Yeah.
There's lots of blonde women.
Yep. I'll let you tell me what you think. This is what's supposed to pass, or the potentials that are supposed to possibly happen during Inauguration Day. If I'm right, which I'm pretty sure I am.
I had some prayer people that are, they're not flaky. They hear the Lord. I know they do, like I do. And they had a dream that he was fatally shot at this event on Sunday. And it was live on TV. And they said, Brandon, we know that the Lord has showed this to us in a dream. And so we want you to pray about this. So we've been praying and interceding for him for this event on the 19th. And so I have seen 3.
Okay, so I'm wrong. Not an inauguration, but this thing tomorrow on the 19th. So this is actually tomorrow.
Another 2 more attacks, 2 more assassination attempts coming on his life. I saw a blonde woman with a French twist she was really beautiful. And she walks up to him and was trying to introduce herself. She had like this ballroom gown sequence dress on, and she opens fire on him and shoots him point blank in the chest, and tries to assassinate him then. And so in this vision I've seen praying against this blonde-headed lady, and I don't know who this is, but she was a very beautiful woman. And so then I've seen him being assassinated again later on in his presidency. The Lord said, you must pray against this one because this is another plan. This is not going to stop. We've got to continue to intercede for this man to finish his race and what God has called him to do, because it's vital. Folks, if they weren't, if the enemy, I'm going to say the enemy, there's Satan himself, if he wasn't scared of what's about to happen, it's all about what's about to happen is a major revival. The Lord has showed me a major revival that's coming from sea to shining sea. And we're going to see the greatest move of God we've ever seen on this planet ever. And Trump is a major part of bringing forth the stability in this nation to bring forth this major revival that I've seen that the Lord is about to have. I'm talking millions of people are about to come to Christ. There is a great shaking to awaken that's going to shake every nation. And people don't realize what's about to take place. And the global elitists and these evil people, I've seen them. It's from BlackRock and the child trafficking rings and all the stuff the Lord has showed me. And the Lord said, you must pray for Trump and for his children, because if they can't get to him.
Okay, I was looking up stuff. So Trevor.
Yeah.
Did he actually say any specifics about the assassination attempt that was supposed to happen during the presidency?
I personally have not heard one.
I didn't catch any specifics either. Now, what did he say about the inauguration? I'm blanking out. Okay, so what did he say about the day before the inauguration? Did he mention the blonde woman already?
I heard somebody say something about a blonde woman, and then that's when you change videos.
Okay, so maybe he hasn't said it yet. All right, so let's just finish this and see.
They'll try to get to what's important to him. And you must intercede for Don Jr., because Don Jr. is a target. And he said, Eric, and he said, pray for those 2 men, because they will try to murder these 2 men in the days ahead. And you must intercede for them. And I've seen attempts on them, and they were successful in the visions, what I've had, that they would actually...
Maybe I'm just a cynic, but I don't really feel like you need visions to know that. You should be praying for them anyway if you're going to... if you're a Christian and you believe in prayer, you should be praying for them anyway, because I'm pretty sure, they've probably been trying to kill these guys for a while.
Who's Eric?
Eric's one of Donald Trump's kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I heard him say something about Eric, and I was like, well, who's Eric?
Yeah, I think it's Don Jr. and Eric, and then Barron. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have anybody else on chat? Has anybody said anything on chat?
I've been kind of... If you notice, I'm kind of off in another world. I'm talking to Jen on chat.
Sweet. That's fine. I can't check the chat, given what I'm monkeying with the volume.
She's just talking about she's been all over YouTube for 4 years, and then what got her interested was looking at Canada with the trucker convoy protests.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was awesome. So
yeah.
All right, so we'll finish this up real quick.
It would be similar to like what they call that for what's coming is like the Kennedy curse. What I'm most concerned about right now, what I feel pressing is just getting him, inaugurated. Just getting the man inaugurated. We have to have him in power. And
this is such a dangerous next 2.5 days. And by the way, Trump has officially put out a statement on Truth Social and X. He is moving it into the rotunda at the Capitol and opening that to whoever in the public can get in. We've got his statement right here on screen for TV viewers. Please continue, Pastor Biggs.
Wow, praise God. I'm glad he's doing that. That's an answer to prayer right there. That's a huge answer to prayer.
I have been...
Well, that is a good news. I'm glad they're having it inside. Because Benny Johnson's been talking about Dan Bongino threatening that there's a possibility of drone swarms.
Dwarm. Is that any word? Is that a word?
It is now. You're welcome.
There's your word of the day, folks. Dwarm. A swarm of drones.
A swarm of drones. Yes, so that is good news. All right. That's all I've got on Brandon Biggs, guys. I feel like I've risked playing it out just by talking about it again now. But with him being on Jones and, the inauguration happening, I thought, well, it's probably good to go over it. Because if nothing happens, if there's no blonde girl, which I don't think it was that, I can't remember if it was mentioned at the beginning of the video or not. If there's no blonde girl that shows up, nobody sees a blonde girl with a French braid. Well, there you go. And let's see, what was some of the specifics? Some of the specifics were there were 3 Iranians that he was supposed to mention, 1 that was heavy set, and 2 that were slightly skinnier, and then a blonde girl with a French braid shooting Trump in the chest.
Well,
and then some other assassination that's supposed to take place in the future. Like that, like everything I've seen here is just ambiguous enough to be useless. And I think this is kind of Mike Winger's point. It's like, this is the kind of stuff that you would look for in a fake prophecy. I can't explain the ear thing, and I can't explain the town thing. This I'm way more dubious about, because it's like, you can't... Okay, if the blonde girl never shows up, well, then prayer was answered. If she does show up, I was right all along. Like, you can't catch him,
So he covers all this.
Well, if you notice at the beginning, he covered it with, this is so much bigger than the inauguration. That was a qualifier to let you know that he wasn't talking specifically about the inauguration. Like, if you're going to take the cynical interpretation. But this guy is so frustrating because he shows signs of both. And I guess that's why I keep going back to him, and that's why it annoys me, because it's like he gets some things right and it seems too specific to be scattershot, but then he does stuff like this where it's like so broad you couldn't possibly nail him.
Another viewer, so Enrique said teleprompter.
Teleprompter? Like Biggs has a teleprompter?
I guess God's just like, typing in, there's your teleprompter, read it off.
I guess, man, it drives me up the wall. Like, I don't know. So, okay, maybe this is the last Brandon Biggs video. Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. Something else may come up. I don't know.
Unless the Simpsons predict something else that you can use.
See, like, it's not even, for me, it's not even about seeing whether the guy's like a false prophet or not. I want to know how he's getting the stuff right that he is getting right. Like, I'm like, if this is a magic trick, I need to know how it's done. But if it is from God, I don't want to, like, say somebody isn't from God who is, and my lack of understanding in theology is causing me to miss it. Like, I don't want that. But at the same time, I'm like, if this is a technical trick thing, I want to know how he's doing it. Because there has to be something that he's doing to at least get in the ballpark. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it annoys me. This, like, annoys me a lot. Like, I'm
Getting
not...
under your skin.
It is. It's like, it's not that I'm going to get bothered either way, whether he's true or false, but it's like, I need to know what's happening, be it true or false. It's driving me crazy. So, anyway. So, is somebody... You're reading the chat. Is somebody else saying something in the chat?
Oh, Jen just said, I doubt it. I'm shocked Simpsons haven't found this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to not drop the Brandon Biggs thing, go on to the next topic. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
If you're lucky.
And if you don't like these awkward transitions, subscribe! All right, so...
Speaking of,
yes.
I was thinking, should we, and this is a question for chat, should we start a, not a Discord? I've already started a Discord. I was thinking about maybe putting that in a link for the video.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could do a, what's it called? The one where they can pay a subscription and then they'll be a part of the community. Like, they can talk to us directly and stuff like that. And then they get like videos early before YouTube and Rumble because they're paying directly for it.
Well, we'd have to actually be coming up with more content to make that work, but I would be interested. I think the calling in would be interesting. Like, if we bought Blog Talk Radio and had a number that, you know, subscribers or actual people that were paying could call in and actually talk to us about. That might be good.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. Patreon. That's it.
Patreon? Okay. Well, we'll have to get there. I think we'll have to be a little bigger before we get there, but I don't know.
No. We don't need, what is it, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000? I don't know.
I don't know. Just how many, well, we'll have as many people are willing to listen to us. All right, you ready to go on to the next one? Next subject?
Just before I open it up, what's the next subject? What is the next subject?
Oh, yeah. Well, before you open... So I guess you are going to lead us in. Okay, the next subject is... We've got Can I Lose My Salvation debate video, and then we've got the iRobot review, and then we're going to end the night with the Try Not to Laugh challenge.
Right. So are we doing the Can You Lose Your Salvation or iRobot?
What would you prefer? I'm easy. Because I've given zero thought to the iRobot review, and it's been forever since I've looked at my own reviews. So, on iRobot. So, I mean, I guess we could try to do that one and get that one out, get that one done.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so you lead us in, good sir.
All right, you ready?
I am.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Tria podcast, where we try not to F it up. And today we are going to go over a review of the movie iRobot. And that has a lot to do with Gary. How are you?
Oh, I am just fantastic.
And
you know, since it's not like we haven't been doing it for 45 minutes already, but I'm great.
Great.
Sweet.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
But basically, this is kind of what Gary does on the side.
This is one of the ways I make money.
This is one of the ways he makes money. And so I was kind of wanting to kind of go over and let him talk about his own review, just so you guys know when you click down at the bottom of the videos when you watch them, that's what you're clicking on. You get to know him a little better.
There's a link to the Substack newsletter.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the Substack newsletter, just full disclosure, they're basically copies. Excuse me. They're basically copies of the article on Mind Matters News. So if you want to get the articles kind of like as they're happening, you would go to Mind Matters News. I made a Substack because at the time when I started writing, I didn't have an author's page on Mind Matters News. So I wanted to archive the articles, so I'd copy and paste them on the Mind Matter onto Substack. Now the old podcast episodes and the articles are all going on Substack in one giant thing. So they're just a little bit behind everything else, I guess you would say. But it's kind of a hub to get everything. So there's that. So yeah, here's the website, I guess. My author's page for Mind Matters News. We're actually going over Terminator Salvation right now. This is the first review that came out this week. Or today, we started Terminator Salvation. But on Substack, we were talking about iRobot.
Yeah.
And I like that movie. It's pretty good.
I like it too.
Review's over, folks. No. So, no, I liked iRobot because it actually meshed sci-fi noir pretty good, I felt, which noir is like detective novels, mysteries, that kind of thing. The Expanse does that a little bit too, but I really thought iRobot did a good job with it. It does have some stuff that, like, philosophically I don't agree with, the idea that... Well, before we get into that, it's basically the idea of, like, dreams. Do robots dream? And, the ghost in the machine type stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have the 3 laws, which I guess we could really talk about that, because the 3 laws are supposed to be how robots can keep from, like, killing people or taking over the world. Like, how do you limit a robot? Because, of course, everybody's fear is that robots are going to become smarter than everybody else, which is just nonsense. But people think that. And
well, that's kind of what Will Smith's character, what it was doing, right?
Well, yeah, he didn't think that the 3 laws were any good, and he thought the robots they just couldn't compete with humanity, which is, a sentiment I agree with. And what's interesting about iRobot, though, is that it doesn't actually condemn Will Smith for this sentiment. It's one of those really smart movies that does play it down the road. It leaves it open-ended whether or not the robot in question, Sonny, is actually, like, sentient or not. So it leaves open the debate.
Well, he was kind of reincarnation of that doctor, wasn't he?
No, he was not a reincarnation of the doctor, but the doctor gave him dreams that were meant to serve as breadcrumbs for Will Smith to be able to solve the mystery. Because the whole thing was evil corporate overlord wants to take over the world using robots. So and the doctor was trapped in the building, wanted to get the message out, couldn't. So he programmed a robot to break the 3 laws. So that would get Will Smith, who is known for hating robots, on the case. And then that way the doctor could kind of lead him to an isolated place where he could say, hey, there's a revolution going on. So, spoilers, that was a little... I probably should have said spoilers first, but, spoilers, haha. So, there's that. But if we're going to...
Jen just asked, I take it they are waterproof. I've never seen the movie.
Oh, yes, the robots are waterproof. They wouldn't get very far if they weren't, I don't imagine. Yeah. So, let's see if I can find my own blasted article where it talks about the 3 laws.
It's a good movie. I recommend it.
Yeah, here we go.
Especially if you like Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
What's the lady's name that plays the other doctor?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't seen her in years.
Scientist.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. She does good. She does a good job. Like, all the actors are solid in the cast. I will compliment iRobot while I'm lighting my cigar and killing time. I will compliment the movie on one other point. It actually successfully pulls off a red herring, which normally when a movie tries to do it, like, I guess I should define red herring. A red herring is like a false lead. Like, the story tries to trick you into thinking one thing, but the twist is actually something else. This movie actually pulls it off. I have seen this movie a lot, but it had been years since I'd seen it when I did the review, and I'd totally forgotten that the CEO wasn't the bad guy. The CEO was always the bad guy, but he wasn't the bad guy in this movie. It was Vicky, the AI. And I had to compliment the movie for that. I was like, you tricked me.
Oh, yeah.
You actually tricked me. I thought it was the evil corporate bigwig. And no, it was the AI computer that you see like once. And I had to be like, well played, movie. Well played.
Yeah.
I have to compliment it for that. It actually tricked me. Normally I'm able to pick out the red herring in like 30 seconds, but this one got me. So, with that being said, let's dive in. See that horrible pun I did because I'm such a witty writer? Let's dive in to the dream sequence here, the 3 laws. So, robots have entered the world, and they are guided by the 3 laws. The first law is, a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. The second law is, a robot must obey orders given it by a human being, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law says a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. These laws appear pretty sound at first, but there are problems, and we'll soon discuss them. All right, I'm going to find where I start talking about the 3 laws, because past me is probably way smarter than current me. So
I don't know about that.
Okay, so let's see here. Well, thank you, but seriously, I haven't eaten anything, so I'm like all loopy. But anyway.
I would have made you a corn dog.
What?
I would have made an extra corn dog for you.
You're in Oklahoma. There's no way. It'd be cold by the time I got here.
Tell people where I'm at.
Okay, sorry. California, Hawaii. He's somewhere else. I was lying when I said he's from Oklahoma. He's not from Oklahoma, guys. So, anyway. So, that being said, it's time to dive... Gosh, I hate myself. Time to dive into these 3 laws. Anyway, as they are they as foolproof as the movie makes them out to be? The short answer is no. One example I read stated that if a human attacks another human, they're useless. They can't defend the victim because they'd be required to endanger the attacker. So the problem with the 3 laws is that they're circular, and they create glitches in the programming where the robot couldn't do anything, and either way you go, the robot's going to end up breaking the 3 laws because it's obligated to protect the human, but it can't kill the human. So the robot can't actually defend anybody. Like if you were to try to program an actual AI with these 3 laws, it would glitch out the system because these laws are kind of tautological and circular. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it sounds a lot of this stuff that these like, I guess futurists say, like it sounds so brilliant, and it's like, oh, we're going to be able to control the machines, but really, when you really analyze it, it all just kind of breaks down because you can't program values into binary, and there's always going to be that limitation in machines because of that. So anyway, they can't defend the victim. I already read that. So what is the robot supposed to do? It is hard to say. And of course, the whole point of the movie is that these robots will inevitably conclude that the only way to protect humanity is to enslave them. That is probably true. But I should note and qualify this to myself that the reason that would be the case is because to get around the glitch I just described, the programmer is always going to have to program his or her own bias into the machine. And so what's always going to end up happening, especially if you have like a Machiavellian programmer or some cynical programmer, is the robots are always going to conclude that humanity should either be destroyed or enslaved because people will give a lot of weight to like a nuclear bomb and humanity's ability to destroy itself, but they usually won't give a whole lot of weight to a philanthropist. So how do you, in binary, compare the number of philanthropists in society versus the number of nuclear bombs? Who saved more lives? Who did more good? A philanthropist is people who like help people, who like give, like food to children and stuff, do-gooders, like people who help others out. How do you weigh a good person compared to a destructive element like a nuclear bomb? And how do you know that the nuclear person isn't going to stop the guy trying to launch the nuclear bomb? You understand what I'm saying? Like all of those kinds of questions are going to ultimately be subject to the programmer. And so if you have cynical programmers, the robots aren't actually, I guess the point is the robots are not actually trying to take over the world. It's the sentiment of the programmer, which is the big trick of AI. They try to sell AI as this unbiased source of authority. Well, it's not. It's a switchboard. And the information that's being isolated and presented to you is all based on the sentiments of the programmer. So it's still people giving you information. They're just adding an extra gatekeeper to tell you that gatekeeper is unbiased. So when you pull something up on like AI, when you Google something now, it may not actually be accurate information. Because how is that robot actually deciding what is reliable and what information you actually need? Give you a perfect example. And this is why they also call these hallucinations too. But I'll give you... I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was just trying to follow along with you.
Sorry. Tell me to slow down or shut up if I'm just rambling or not making sense.
Never shut up.
All right. Well, it makes sense in my own head. Somebody tell me to stop if it doesn't, or to slow down. Like, I am making sense to me, but who knows, you know? All right. So let's see. So the robots are always going to try to take over the world.
I think you're on the next...
Did I scroll down? I probably did.
No, I think you're on the next paragraph, actually.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Only slave them. In the best case scenario... Okay, and this is, I think, also I'm talking about how the robots are supposed to choose between one life or another. I think that's what I'm referring to here.
Which is what that one did at the beginning.
Which is exactly what Will Smith was mad about. This exact problem in the movie. So, in the best case scenario, they keep a kid... Like, so say you've got a kid... Oh, wait, no, I understand. I'm saying something different. Never mind. Let me just read it. In the best case scenario, they keep a kid from riding his or her bike because it's too dangerous. So they start, like, mother-henning kids because of probabilities.
Right.
In the worst case scenario, the robots try to take over the world. So I can't complain too much about the plot hole because even by the movie's logic, the 3 laws don't really work. You can read more about the problem with the 3 laws at... Mind Matters, and I have a link here. I believe I did read this article, at least I might have, but Mind Matters News talks about these problems all the time, like issues of AI and the conflicts that it's going to have, and there's a whole article done on Mind Matters News about how the 3 laws fail, and you can't really use them in robotics. So go check out Mind Matters News. It has a lot of great stuff about why the singularity and the supremacy of robots is very hyped. But anyway,
nice.
Despite the robots' programming, they stand still as Spooner shoots them one by one. Okay, so I'm going back into the story. All right, so that's the discussion on the 3 laws. I guess the next thing, let's see if I can find it on my own Dad Blame newsletter website, because I'm a professional.
We're all professionals here, don't worry.
So, how are we doing on the chat, Trevor? Has anybody got anything to say?
Jin just said brain crash, and I responded, me too, LOL.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it simple.
No,
it's sorry.
Fine. I wanted to show them kind of what you do. So
okay, yeah. Read the article because I have more time to explain things in the article, so I can slow down and articulate stuff better. So I apologize if I'm just rambling right now.
He's a rambling man.
All right, so I want to try to find where it talks about the dreams in the machines. Okay. Because this was actually very interesting.
You spelled Sonny wrong.
Shush. All that editing was for nothing. So...
Editing? What's that?
It's the thing you're supposed to do when you put out a professional article.
We don't edit things here.
I'm supposed to. That's part of my job. Apparently I failed. It might be in the next one. It's probably not in this one. Okay. Yo, no, it says ghosts in the machines. I'm not crazy.
You ghosted yourself.
I did. All right. Hang on. Here we go. So in front of the house is a giant demolition robot set to destroy the building in the morning, which of course it doesn't. It tears down the house with the guy inside because fight scene. And I'm not sure why houses need to be destroyed in the future. Surely there was some distant relative or two who would have loved to move in, because it's like this nice mansion. So in this, it's like a ridiculous plot hole I was pointing out. Basically, in the scene, Dr. Calvin dies, and he has this gigantic mansion. And so, since he's dead, they put this gigantic robot in front of the house to, like, destroy it for no reason. And I'm thinking, he didn't have a relative or two that might have liked that? I mean, shouldn't you, like, read the will first? Or, I don't know, see if somebody wants it? Why are you destroying the giant house?
Well, I think they destroyed it because they were afraid that he might have some sort of, like, backup server.
They hacked the machine and destroyed it early because they were afraid of that, and they were afraid what Spooner was going to find. My question was, why is there a giant demolition robot that destroys dead people's houses right after they die in the first place? It seems like a silly mechanism.
Well, the company that he works for probably destroyed the original will, and this is just me guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought is they probably had him in the fake will give them his house because he worked for them or whatever. And they actually owned it. Or they bought it out before he passed.
So somebody bought it out and just ordered to destroy it beforehand?
So they could rebuild.
Okay, you might be right, Trevor, but this is called, in like these review circles, writing for the author. They don't tell you. So that's why you kind of count it as a plot hole, because it's an instance where people should have explained stuff but didn't. It's not a big deal. It doesn't, like, collapse the movie or anything. It's just a little silly that you have a random Destructo droid that gets parked in front of a house when people could have just as easily bought it. But, you know, it's a cool scene where Will Smith is running through a destroyed house. It's a great scene. Yeah. And he saves the cat. Not that anybody cared, but he saved the cat. So anyway.
Well, the cat's very important. In all of Will Smith's movies, like Men in Black. You know, the cat. Orion's belt and everything.
It's not another esoteric Hollywood thing, is there? The hero must always save a cat, and the dog must always die. There are reasons for these things. Part of the occult. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you go back to ancient Egypt, they worshipped cats, so.
You know what? You're right. That probably wouldn't surprise me. It's like all about worshiping cats or something. I don't know.
I believe cats are going to take over the world right next to the robots.
Oh, that would be a crappy world. Good night. Anyway, let's talk about Ghosts in the Machine. Let's see if I can find it again, because I had it.
Are we talking about spiritual ghosts or hypothetical?
Let me just read it, and if I fail to mention it in this paragraph, I'll explain it. So, in front of the house is a giant demolition robot set to destroy the building in the morning. I'm not sure why the houses need to be destroyed in the future. Surely there are a distant relative. I already read that. So Spooner goes inside and begins looking around. He comes across a recording of Dr. Lanning as he's talking about the ghosts in the machine. He describes these ghosts as random segments of code and asks questions like why robots choose to stand together rather than alone when they're stored in a dark place. So, this idea is that it's basically evolution, but on the code level. So the random variations in the code produce behaviors that are evolutionary. That's essentially what he's getting at.
So he put basically an Easter egg in the robots.
No, these are accidents. Now, these accidents, if I understand the movie correctly, gave him the idea to plant a dream in Sonny that would give Will Smith a clue to, Vicky trying to take over the world. But the concept, one of the things that I was writing about in the review is the concept of the ghost in the machine, whether or not random code can create order, like whether or not a random segment of code is going to create a behavior. Now, any programmer that I'm aware of, would probably say, if I were to guess, that a splicing of the code or a distortion in the code, splicing is not the right word, but a distortion in the code is going to cause a glitch in the thing to crash. It's not going to reproduce behaviors. And how do you get a chaotic element to create Like, it's just the same problem as with evolution. It's like you're dealing with mutations, essentially, developing order and creating something new. But in this instance, like what you see with computer codes in real life, is anytime you see that distortion, it instantly shuts down whatever that function is. Like, you don't get something that's usable out of a single solitary glitch.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That's basically the problem with the ghosts in the machine. He's attributing the ghosts in the machine to these random chaotic mistakes, like typos in a word.
Yeah.
And that really doesn't make sense. So that was the other thing I was complaining about. So,
Chaos is fair.
well, chaos doesn't produce anything. Chaos is just leaves you dead.
It's still fair.
I guess if you consider death fair, that's a little cynical, but okay.
Well, it's a quote.
Is that's Toothpaste, right?
No, it's from the Joker.
Oh, you're
Heath
right,
Ledger's
the Joker.
The Joker.
Well, that's even better, yeah, because he's the role model for the world, guys. It's like, you get what you deserve, or is that a different one? So anyway,
I think that's one of the.
That's a
cartoon
different one. No, you get. Okay, that was a joke. I knew what I was saying. It was Joaquin Phoenix says you get what you deserve, and Heath Ledger is the one that says chaos is fair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny. You get what you deserve. It's just
We should do a review on that one. Joaquin
I don't know
Phoenix
if I
is the Joker.
could. I don't know if I could because the other one, the newest one, stank so bad. It's like Todd Phillips was ashamed that he actually made the plebs happy, so he had to like ruin his own franchise to, get back in good with his buddies at the cocktail parties.
Well, you didn't like it? You didn't like the explanation of how the Joker got started?
No, I'm not talking about the first one. There's a sequel that came out.
Ooh.
And it's a musical, which is your first hint that it's horrid.
It's a musical?
It's a musical. Can you imagine a Joker musical?
Please, no.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
That's ridiculous.
He's like,
that's kind of like what the Disney did with Beauty and the Beast.
You mean remake it shamelessly and like change as little as possible to just regurgitate fans?
Yeah, that was. It's a good movie, great movie. Don't watch it. Sorry.
It's a great movie. In fact, it's the same movie. Don't bother.
Just watch the cartoon again. You'll be satisfied.
So, okay, so that's it's stuff like that that's in the iRobot stuff, and all these reviews basically have the same kind of idea. We go over plot holes and story structure and emphasis, since it's all sci-fi reviews, there's an emphasis on tech and what tech can and can't actually do. So, what are your thoughts on iRobot? I've talked for like half an hour, so what do you think?
I like iRobot. I love Will Smith as an actor, so there's the first thing that I like about it. And then I like the chick. I don't remember her name. And then just the whole plot, and then how you said the plot thickens, or what it was called. Which bird was it? The raven, the red herring.
The red herring, yeah.
Yeah. And
the twist at the end.
The twist at the end. I love good stories like that.
And Shia LaBeouf gets beat up by robots. It's great. No, I have no problem with Shia LaBeouf. Anyway.
Isn't that one called The Eagle? Or Eagle Eye? Eagle Eye. That's it.
The Eagle Eye is another Shia LaBeouf movie. I remember liking it, but I don't remember much else about it. I just remember that I liked it.
It's kind of on the same level as iRobot.
Evil AI?
Yeah.
Well, that'll have to be a review then. Of course, I've got like a backlog. So.
Heck yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, I'm working through. Let's see. I've written everything for Terminator Salvation, so those reviews are coming out now. I like Terminator Salvation. It is really, really good. And then I have to review the two bad ones after that, Genesis and Dark Fate. And I got to do a review series on those. And then after that, we talked about doing comparative reviews, like an instance where a sci-fi episode does something right and another sci-fi episode does something wrong, but you're talking about the same concept. So that's an idea we were playing with, but that's a little ways out. Yeah, I think it would be good too. It'd be good to try to show how certain tropes and things are done correctly and what they look like when they're done incorrectly, so people kind of know the difference between good writing and bad writing and that kind of thing. So we're playing with that. That's much more labor intensive for me, so I'm not sure how I'm going to pull that off, but I will.
You can do it.
Work at it. Yeah. So
I believe in you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, I guess we're done with that. It's been about 30 minutes.
All right, so we're going to end that one.
All right.
Or thank you for watching.
You got to say it with more unks. Look in the camera and go, guys!
Oh, this camera right here.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. And we will see you on the next episode.
Adios. And if you don't want to see these awkward transitions, subscribe! So, all right. So that's 2.
I think we might have lost somebody.
Uh-oh. Who'd we lose?
I'm not sure. We had like 20 people watching, and then we got back down to 10, so...
Well, people may have got bored. It's fine.
Oh.
So, I understand. We just do our best.
Be our guest, do your best.
All right, what's next? Let's see here. All right, so we are going to do a video on whether or not you can lose your salvation next, correct?
Sweet.
Or it's not even so much about that. It's about what you should not do when making a video about that. I wanted to point out some of the word game stuff that they play, like how to avoid Orwellian doublethink. That's really kind of what I was getting at.
Let's do it.
All right, so welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And today, we are going to be doing a video about a video regarding the subject of loss of salvation. So somebody made a video. Obviously, some people think you can lose it. Some people can't. I'm in the you can't camp. Other people are in other camps. This guy tried to split the baby. And he did this kind of, I've heard it before from like theologians and stuff that you could, works don't count for salvation, but if you're not a good person, are you really saved? That kind of thing. So this is the route he goes, and I wanted to kind of like analyze what he says.
What do you mean by split the baby?
I mean, he tried to, in his words, unite the lose your salvation camp with the can't lose your salvation camp. So he split the baby by trying to create this both category, and I got annoyed. And since I hadn't done a lot of podcast research this time, I thought we'd do a video on it since it was something I watched this week that annoyed me. So that's really it. And obviously, if anybody has any thoughts in the chat or wherever about it, feel right.
I will read them and then debate in my head whether or not I should read them out loud.
No, you need to read them out loud. If somebody writes, read them out loud. If they're calling me a big, if they're calling me a big dumb dingus, or whatever, they wrote it. So I think that's the rules of super chat. I think that's how that's supposed to go.
Oh well, yeah, they're not super chatting. They're just chatting.
Sorry, just chatting. Well, if they talk to us, I guess we got to read it then. So
okay.
All right, let me see if I can put this pleasant picture up after we watch an ad.
Adobe.
Yeah, it's my favorite program. Really?
Apparently you already watched
it.
I did already watch it, yeah.
To lose your salvation? Or is it true that if you get saved at some point in your life, you're always saved? This question can cause a lot of stress, because what if we really mess up? Can we sin so badly that we lose our salvation? There seems to be a lot of disagreement on this question, so I'd like to add to the discussion by sharing 7 thoughts. Thought number 1, someone is saved because of their faith, not their good works. Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast.
Wait.
In this passage, Paul talks to the church.
Yes.
What version is that? Is that King James?
I don't know what versions he's using. Did he say? I don't think he says.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
personally, in my looking at this, it helps to tell people what version.
in some cases, yes, because the version debate is like nasty.
Yeah, because nowadays there's a million different versions.
Well, do you want to go to the King James and look it up? Because we are going to probably have to flip through different Bible verses anyway throughout this video. So how about I just pull it up, and then for the audience, really quick, we will go to BibleGateway.com, and I will pull from the King James because I like the King James.
Looks like he's reading from the NIV.
Is he doing the NIV? Okay. So let's see. What do you say? Ephesians 2:8.
2, 8, and 9.
2, 8, and 9. Okay, Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. Here we go. Am I in King James? Yes, I am. All right. So, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty much word for word almost.
Yeah. A couple things I do want to point out about that, though. Number one, not by works is a qualifier, which, a qualifier, I have the definition written down somewhere. It is something that, elaborates on a word or excludes context from a word, so it gives you more information about the term. So from this, you can infer that faith and grace are not going to be connected to works. It sounds really simple, but that's a pretty express qualifier. And I guess it should also be pointed out that the point is so we can't brag. So let's do that and continue.
Faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. In this passage, Paul talks to the church of Ephesus, and he tells them that they are saved through faith, not their works or good deeds. So I need to make this clear. What determines someone's salvation is the fact of whether or not they have faith in Jesus and his death for their sins. And like Paul said earlier, a person cannot earn their salvation by filling their life with a bunch of works or good deeds. Otherwise, people could be capable of boasting. Thought number 2, saving faith must have works. James chapter 2, verse 26.
No, it doesn't. I'm going to disagree with that right now. But do you want me to go into why? Or do you want to wait till next week till we have the debate with Jeremiah and we're talking about James specifically? Because I don't want to start in on it if they don't get a chance to rebut.
Yeah, let's hold off on the whole debating. Right now, let's just we're just going over this guy's video. But from the little bit that I've seen, I think he's just talking about people in general making these arguments.
Yeah,
like what we're gonna do with what's his name, Jeremiah, next week.
Yeah.
We're going to go over this very topic.
Yeah. So, and James specifically, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
And so, honestly, just from the little bit we've watched, that's my take, is he's not picking either or. He's just talking about what people debate and argue and theology about.
I will shut my trap then.
So we'll wait till next week to get into that.
All right.
Without the Spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. In this passage, James tells Christians that in the same way a body without the Spirit is dead, faith is also dead if it does not have works. James earlier in the passage explains how belief in God isn't enough because even demons believe in God but are doomed for hell. And then James wraps up the thought by explaining that faith must have good works, otherwise faith is dead. Now, while this thought may seem contradictory to thought number 1, it's not. Some people may think that faith and works equals
Yes, it is.
salvation, but in actuality, it's faith alone that saves people, and this faith is proved true or made real by works. According to the Bible, there is a difference between belief and faith, and we're saved through faith as seen in Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8, and at the same time, if there's no works but only belief, faith is dead because demons also believe. Thankfully though,
Huh?
Belief and faith. Aren't they the same thing? Belief and faith? Or don't they kind of lead to each other?
Yeah, but notice he's doing some funny business with the wording.
Yeah, he's got his wording. Yeah. So.
That's what's going on here. That's what I'm trying to point out. This is why you don't pay attention to people who pretend to be in the middle, because they do this semantic garbage where they bait and switch terms on you.
Yeah. So yeah, he's actually lost me now. I'm confused.
Oh, it's funny. It gets better. It's great. It's like I'll just wait till we get there. It just drove me up the wall.
We have Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 that gives us the definition of faith, and it reads, "Faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see." And the definition for faith that I've come up with from this passage is this: faith is firm belief that results in confident action.
That is literally not what was said. Go. You want to go back? Let's go back.
Go back.
Yeah. All right. Let's see where we're at. Faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. The hope gives us assurance about things we cannot see. No confident action. He's like having to use other scriptures that aren't even talking about faith to come up with this definition about faith.
Right.
It's baiting. It's just this weird semantic game. It's crazy.
Confidence that what we hope for in confident action. Because if you continue to read Hebrews 11, you'll find that people's belief always led them to do something. So let me try to bridge the divide between faith alone saves and faith without works is dead. And here it is. A saving faith works.
Isn't that adorable? I love that term. A saving faith works. It's called a double entendre. So what he means is a saving faith will work in the sense that it will save you and bring you to heaven, but a saving faith also means you're going to work, which basically means works. I guess that's my point. Is
yes.
This guy's actually a works proponent, but he's kind of massaging the term, faith and belief to make it seem like it's crossing the barrier when really it's just reaffirming works.
Right.
That's what's going on.
And that's it. Are we saved by the works that come out of our life? No. But when a person understands that Jesus loves them, that person will want to love him back. And that love looks like obeying his commandments as seen in John chapter 14, verse 15, which reads, "If you love me, obey my commandments."
Now, what's interesting is so far, most people are going to be like, yeah, I agree with that. That sounds good. If I love God, I'm going to do what he says, right? Like, who would disagree with that?
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's arguing yet, but look what he does. Keep watching. This is fantastic.
Thought number 3, grace should not be abused.
Now you see the real man reveal himself. Grace should not be abused. Now watch this.
Romans chapter 6, verses 1 to 2. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Certainly not. How shall we who died to sin live any longer in it? In this passage, Paul essentially is asking, should we just sin? Because if we're saved by grace, then does it matter what we do? And he responds to that thought by saying, no, if we're dead to sin, why should we continue sinning? So here's the issue. Some people in the past have abused God's grace, and this is what it looks like. Take Billy here, for example, and he thinks, I'm not saved based on works. I'm saved based on my faith in God. So I can sin right now and ask for forgiveness later, because at the end of the day, no one's perfect and my salvation isn't based on what I do, so who cares? Now, well...
Okay, Name one person that hasn't thought that. When somebody sins, that's usually like nobody sins accidentally. Nobody goes, well, I didn't know it was a sin, because definitionally a sin is a willful like disobedience of the law.
Yeah.
So when somebody does something wrong, very often their justification is, well, God will forgive me.
Yeah, or it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, exactly. That's sane. So what he's doing here is he's basically like taking this criterion that literally applies to everybody and is like, oh, this is the person that really, he doesn't take his faith seriously, which is what's he actually saying? Do you really take your faith seriously? Do you do the right thing? Do you work? It's a bait and switch.
He's trying to make you feel bad.
Yeah, he's trying to make you feel bad because he knows, because he's done it. And if he has, show me a guy who hasn't thought that, and I'll show you a liar. So he's clearly.
I don't think that.
You are full of it. Everybody thinks that. Bull. I'm calling bull. So everybody.
What kind of bull?
Whatever bull you want.
Red Bull. Because it gives you wings.
Ha 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 ha. Anyway,
sorry.
No,
continue.
I'm just saying that's the bait and switch. He's created this criterion that literally applies to everybody. This is almost as ridiculous of an argument as the phrase habitual sins. Have you heard that, cute little Jim? Habitual sins. Name me a sin that isn't habitual.
None of them?
None of them, exactly. Everybody's got a problem in one area or another. And if you fix a problem in one area, then another one springs up. Name me one sin that is not a habitual sin. So this is a guy like playing soft, nice music, but he's deceptively kind of adding these little poison pills to make you doubt your own salvation, because he's giving you a criterion that literally everybody thinks.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate stuff like this. I'm like, if you think works... Like, if you think you can lose your salvation, say it. Don't give me this mamby-pamby crap. Like, pick a side, choose your side, be honest about your side. Don't sit here and try to straddle the line and act like the reasonable one.
Many of us may not have verbalized these exact thoughts. Some of us can live like we believe it's true. And this thinking would put us in dangerous territory, because I would argue that if someone were to...
Dangerous territory. You might lose your salvation. That's what that means. This thought that everybody thinks is going to put you in dangerous territory, which means you're going to lose your salvation.
Truly think about Jesus, about his beatings, his lashings, his piercings, his agony, his suffering, his cries, and his death. I would argue that someone who truly understands what Jesus did for them would always try to get up despite their many failures and try to fight against sin. As opposed to...
Which, like, most Christians do. You're looking down. Is somebody on Super Chats?
No, my kid's sick.
Oh,
and she needs some medicine. So after this one, I need to run for a second.
Okay,
so
no, you're good.
Finish this thought.
Okay. So after this thought, okay. Well, I'm just saying these are generic things that apply to everybody. So it's just designed to leave you unsure.
Right.
Someone looking at Jesus's...
So do you need to go? Like, if you need to go, you can go ahead and take off.
No, let's finish out this episode.
Oh, you want to finish out the episode? Okay. All right.
We'll take. I just need like 5 minutes.
Sweet. All right.
Sacrifice and saying, Jesus will forgive me, and then dive right into sin. For this person who is abusing God's precious grace, I would probably make the assertion that they do not have saving faith.
Hey, come here real quick. I want to show you something. Do you want to see
Looking at
presentation?
I know. I'm so happy. Look at this.
Thought number 4.
So, the sin tub. There's something he said here that I'm trying to remember. So he's trying to say basically that, like, if somebody doesn't care about sin at all, then they're going to go to hell because they don't care, I guess. All right, well, I guess I'll talk to the audience because he's talking to, I think, Dina. So, my issue with this is that he's basically arguing that, somebody who's going to lose their salvation, It looks like he's arguing that somebody who's going to lose their salvation isn't even going to care about sin. But first of all, that's like nobody. And then on the one hand, he gives us this. So on the one hand, you've got this like criterion that is so broad that nobody's ever going to do it. And then on the other hand, you've got this thought that literally everybody thinks. So it's confusing and disjointed. But I think the idea is basically if you sin habitually, that you're going to lose your salvation. I think that's what he's going for. I have issues with that because people have such a distorted view about what and right and wrong even is. Well, what happens if you violate the law and you don't know you violated the law? You still violated the law, so what happens then? If sin is even still on the board, how does any of this work? So, moving on.
Faith. Thought number 4.
You good, Mr. Trevor?
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with you on that one.
Okay.
Someone can know they're saved.
How? If you think this thought about, basically, if you think, well, God will forgive me, and that's a criterion that's going to put you in dangerous territory, how can you know that you're saved? You can't. That's my opinion.
Not until you die and go to heaven. Anyways.
Yeah, you won't know until it's too late. So...
1 John chapter 5, verse 13. These things I have written to you who believe in the name of the Son of God, that you may know that you have eternal life and that you may continue to believe in the name of the Son of God. In this passage, John tells the church that the reason why he writes to them is so that they would believe in Jesus and that they may know that they have eternal life and so that they would continue to believe. And the key word here is know. And the observation I'll make is that someone can know for sure whether or not they have eternal life. So for Christians, it shouldn't be a guessing game of whether or not they're saved. Through their personal relationship with God, Christians can know for sure if they are saved, and this will lead to a godly peace that can look death in the eyes and smile.
How? Am I missing something? Did I miss something obvious? How? You see what I'm saying? It's like this weird...
How what?
How could you know that you're saved if you've got to still watch what you're doing? And if you are completely apathetic, hypothetically speaking, then you would go to hell. So at what point does a sin become a, oops, didn't mean to a habitual sin, where it's like, God will forgive me? At what point do you make that transition? Because I would argue literally everybody has a sin that's habitual. Everybody has a sin that they do and they justify by saying God will forgive me. So if everybody's got that one area in their life that they're weak at, how could they possibly know that they're saved under this guy's criterion?
Good question.
He doesn't answer it. It's like, well, you haven't done a very good job distinguishing between the two. You set up this weird ad hoc scenario at one point where it's like the guy's got a dour face and he's like, God forgave me. You know, which nobody's actually going to do. And then you turned around on the other side and literally quoted a thought that everybody has. Right. You know, it's like this weird inconsistency because the guy's trying to straddle the line. Because he's a works guy, but he's trying to pretend to be a faith guy.
And, you know, there are some preachers that preach on that. You know, they talk about they don't have sin. They don't like sin. They hate it. So most of the time, they don't even think about sin unless someone else brings it up.
That is bull. Everybody's got something they're bad at. Like if you think for a minute that you're like without sin and you don't have one area you're weak at, like you're deceiving yourself. Like there's literally a verse. I'm going to look it up to make the point. So give me a minute. Because this is like literally a scriptural principle in the Bible. So hang on a sec because I got to Google it because I don't have the verse in front of me because all my sticky notes.
You mean you don't have the Bible memorized?
Yeah, I don't. Shocker.
Well, how can you rip this guy a new one if you don't have it memorized for yourself?
I'm going to have to go to my sticky notes and put them in a big freaking Word document. Is what I'm going to have to do.
Oh. Just have them on a thumb drive, with 1,000 different sticky notes on it, like Kent Hovind does.
Yeah, sticky notes are my secret weapon. So it's very childish, but that's just how I do things. What can I say? So hang on a minute. All right. Just to prove this point, 1 John 1:8. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Everybody's got a sin. That's Bible. I don't know how you argue that if you think the Bible's inerrant.
What to say? If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Huh.
I think that's pretty solid.
Well, I have no sin.
You are full of it.
Until I sin.
Yeah, you have no sin until you sin, yeah. So, anywho.
Don't clip that, by the way.
Be weaponized against you forever.
Forever.
All right.
Maybe we should just edit that out completely.
You're like, cut, we're just not going to do it. Okay. No.
How do we edit a live stream?
That's a good question. I think you're in trouble, sir.
Because they know where they're going once they breathe their last breath. Thought number 5. Nothing can separate God's children from God's love. Romans
Except sin,
8,
apparently.
38 to 39. And I'm convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love, neither death nor life.
Except if you sin and mean it. That's the qualifier. If you sin and mean it, then you can be separated from God's love. Yeah. If you sin and mean it. If you do it on super duper purpose, then you can be separated from God's love. But okay, anyway.
Neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. No power in the sky above or in the earth below. Indeed, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord. In this passage, Paul tells fellow Christians that nothing can ever separate them from God's love. And this would include their own shortcomings and failures when it comes to sin. Because if their sin could separate them from God, then this passage would be inaccurate. It's important to note, though, that the book of Romans was written to Christians. So what Paul...
Unless you don't care. If you don't care, then it applies. But see, not caring about sin would also be a sin. So in which case, sin would still separate you from God. But anyway, Trevor, you were going to say something.
The book of Romans was written to the Church of Rome, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So was it actually written to all Christians or just the Church of Rome?
The thing is, Romans is about the Jews being confused about Christ's prophecy. Like the Jewish prophecy was that Christ was going to come back and rule the world, and the Jews were going to rule the world. And they couldn't see how that prophecy still applied when the Gentiles were coming to the faith. So that's the context around Romans. He's trying to explain how the covenant works and how the prophecy still applies.
Oh, okay.
And he gives an explanation about what salvation is and how it works in Romans as part of that whole deal. So when he's talking about nothing can separate you from the love of God, the meaning is actually remarkably simple. Nothing means nothing. Like zero, zilch, nada. You know, what it says in the text.
Right.
You know, not this weird super duper mean it. It's nonsense.
What was effectively communicating was this: believers who have faith in Christ and are justified in Christ, nothing could separate them from God's love. Thought number 6. Some people look like they have faith, but don't have faith. 1 John chapter 2, verses 18 to 19. Little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if
I just want to point out, this kind of makes me mad because this is like an instance where he's like, I feel like he's deliberately using stuff out of context. Because the problem that the apostles were having throughout Scripture was there were like all these false prophets. These guys would come in and, Paul would explain what the gospel is, and then he would set up a church, and then these guys would come in and go, up, 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 you got to do all this stuff. Specifically, it was the circumcision crowd. They would explain that all you need is Christ to be saved, and then these guys would come in and go, nope, you got to be circumcised too. And then the apostles would have to write letters and refute that. And you see that multiple times. So when he says antichrists, he's probably talking about false prophets. Now, I have not read the context of the chapter, so I don't know for sure. But if I were a betting man, he's talking about false prophets because 9 times out of 10, that's what's going on. And so this is clearly like using this scripture out of context to be like, some people are really Christians, but they aren't. Also implying that you might think you're a Christian, but you're not, because you're not super serious about your sins.
If they had been of us, they would have continued with us, but they went out that they might be made manifest, that none of them were of us. John here is explaining that there are many antichrists, or people opposed to Christ, that are present, and that they came out from among Christians, but were never really Christian. And if they really were Christians, they would have continued in their faith. In the Christian walk, there's a lot of people who talk the talk and can even walk the walk, but were never truly saved. Judas Iscariot was one of these people. He was one of the 12 disciples who served people and worked miracles, but he betrayed Jesus for money. And might I mention that no one suspected him until after Jesus' arrest.
Hey guys, Josh Jones, owner Linda's Flowers.
Hi, Josh Jones.
Reminding you that
It's wonderful to
Valentine's
see you, Josh Jones.
So for people who look at...
All right, I just want to point this out about Judas. He may never have accepted Christ. He might have believed Christ. And I don't know. I haven't looked at this super deeply, but he might have accepted the idea that Christ was supposed to, overthrow the Romans like most of the Jews believed at the time. And when he figured out that wasn't the case, he betrayed Christ. It could have been that. Like... we don't have it like with Peter. In the Gospels, Peter says, "You are Christ, Son of the living God," and has that confession moment. I don't think we ever see that with Judas.
Yeah, and I've been asked this question before. Would Judas have done what he did if Jesus didn't call him out on it beforehand?
I think he would have, probably because he had already set that up. Like
he'd already thought about it.
Yeah, well, he'd already... in John, there's a particular instance. I think there's 2 instances. Now, I'm going to have to go off memory, so if I got details wrong, I apologize. But there's a woman who washes Christ's feet, and then Judas calls her out and says she could have used this to give to the poor, and then Christ rebukes Judas. And according to John, if I'm remembering correctly, it was that specific instance that got Judas mad, and so he went to the Pharisees, kind of out of spite. If I'm misremembering that, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And I have reason to be confident because I was John and Judas at the Passion Play, and that's how they portrayed those events. Judas got mad because of,
I remember
Christ calling him out for rebuking the woman. So... the chances of Judas being saved, and the Bible also says that he was stealing money the whole time. So he's wrong to say nobody knew about it. It's like they were kind of suspicious of the guy because they already knew he was stealing money.
Gotcha.
So I mean, they knew something was going on.
Believers who left the faith, I would say that there's probably 2 possibilities. Either they're like the prodigal son, and God is allowing them to make bad decisions and is waiting for them to return to him, or they never truly had faith, and like Judas, faked it. And thought number 7, lives should be examined for true faith.
Or salvation is a covenant and it has nothing to do with how consistent you are as a Christian. Anyway.
Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves as to whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Do you not know yourselves that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you are disqualified? In this passage, Paul commands...
Oh, this was the worst. You know what examine yourselves means in regular rhetoric? means ask yourself a question. It does not mean an entire life evaluation. And if you read in Corinthians 13, at the beginning of Corinthians 13, what's going on, let me look it up. And this is going to be a little harder of a case to make because it's 2 Corinthians 13. Because the wording is a little difficult, but I think I am right. So let's see.
I didn't know there was a third Corinthians.
Shush. I'm an idiot. Leave me alone. And I can't spell either.
It's just a typo. Don't worry.
Let's say 13. And what did he... Not 15. Stop it. Okay, hang on a minute. 13:5. That's what it is. Let's go to the King James, even though the wording might be very difficult. Here. Okay. So, let's read the whole chapter, not just the verse. So, this is the third time I am coming to you in the month of 2 or 3. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. I told you before, and I foretell you, as if I were present. The second time, and being absent now, I write to them which heretofore have sinned, and to all other, that if I come again, I will not spare. Since ye seek proof of Christ speaking in me, which to you word is not weak, but is mighty to you. So what he's talking about, actually, let me go on, make sure makes it more clear. For though he was crucified through weakness, yet he liveth by the power of God. For we also are weak in him, but we shall live with him by the power of God towards you. So the way I'm reading that is he is defending his ministry. Like he's saying, since ye seek proof of Christ speaking in me, he is defending his gospel. What is his gospel? It's if you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in your heart that he rose from the dead, you shall be saved. Back in Romans. That's his gospel. That's his message. So, and look at this. Examine yourselves. Okay, ask yourself this question. It's not meaning an entire life evaluation. Whether ye be in the faith. How do you get in the faith? How do you be in the faith?
The gospel of Christ.
Exactly. The gospel of Christ. Have you or have you not confessed with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, and do you or do you not believe in your heart that he rose from the dead? That's the criterion. It is not, he's trying to make it sound like you need to do this like dramatic evaluation of your entire life. No. What's he talking about at the beginning of the Corinthians? He's talking about seek ye proof of Christ speaking in me. Since you seek proof of Christ speaking in me, examine yourself. Ask for yourself if you're in the faith. Decide for yourself if what I'm telling you is true. And then he says, but I trust ye know that we are not reprobates. We are not heathens. Who is the we? Paul and Barnabas. Because he's making this comment about defending his gospel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's taking the scripture out of context. And I haven't looked this up, but I wouldn't be surprised at all, is if you go through Corinthians, he probably has to deal with false teachers at some point. He may even be dealing with the circumcision crowd. In fact, I'm going to look something up, even if this makes me look foolish if I'm wrong. So give me a second.
I hope you're not wrong.
I hope I'm not wrong either, because it's going to be embarrassing. What is that? Never mind. I'm wrong. It's Galatians, not Corinthians. But at one point...
Galatians.
Yeah. At one point, Paul says, I wish that they would emasculate themselves altogether. Because he was having to constantly go back and refute the circumcision crowd specifically. And when he says emasculate themselves altogether, he's like, I wish they would finish the job, and instead of just, circumcising themselves, I wish they'd neuter themselves. That's what he's saying. And he gives that expression because he's really frustrated about having to go back and deal with this over and over and over again. He keeps saying that you just need Christ to be saved. And these people would come in and be like, no, you need something else. And he does that, at least I think he does it in Corinthians. I know he does it in Ephesians, and I know he does it in Galatians. He does it multiple times in the Bible. So when he's defending his ministry, that tells me that probably earlier in the book he's had to argue about false prophets. But you're supposed to read that one verse in isolation and think you're supposed to evaluate your entire life when he's really probably talking about his ministry.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it makes blood shoot out of my eyes. Like, I get so mad when I see this.
Yeah, because people do it all the time. They pick pieces out of the Bible and preach those one pieces and confuse people.
Mm-hmm. And they scare the crap out of people, which is the point.
Or scare the crap out of them.
Yeah.
The Corinthian church to examine or test their life to see if they are actually in the faith. And this is something...
See? Test their entire life. Test their life. Their whole life. All their works. So, you're saved by faith, but micromanage your entire existence since salvation to see if you're super duper serious. That's what he wants you to read into that.
Every believer should do regularly. Why? Because we're sinners. And we should pay close attention to passages like Matthew 7:21-23, where Jesus says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' shall enter the kingdom of heaven."
Oh, I'm going to wait till next week. But I've got a refutation. I guess I'll tease it now since I've already teased it. If you literally look like 5 passages before, it's expressly talking about false prophets. When he says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father," which there's a verse that explains what the will of the Father is, by the way. It's believe on Christ.
False prophets and Pharisees.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the scribes and the Pharisees specifically, but he uses the term false prophets literally 5 verses or so before. I think it's Matthew 7:15, I think. But he's literally talking about false prophets. And what do the false prophets do, Trevor? What do? They go, "Did we not do, get rid of demons and do this in your name and that in your name?" What does that mean? It means, did we not do the stuff? Did we not work? And then he goes, "No, I never knew you." And they are only the people who do the will of my Father enter into heaven. Well, what is the will of the Father? He tells you, I believe it's in John, might even be in Matthew. Again, sticky notes. But it's literally he who believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God.
Yeah.
So this is another scripture that's being taken out of context, which everybody in the dog is taking this one out of context. But no, regardless of whether or not you believe like works cause you to lose your salvation or whatever, note that he started out saying he's going to bridge the divide, and he's got all this serene, pretty music or whatever, and then he turns around at the end of the video and leads with like the quintessential, "I believe works can cause you to lose your salvation" verse. Did you catch that?
Mic drop.
Yeah, he starts out playing like he's going to be even-handed, and then he quotes the go-to text for the works can lose your salvation crowd. That's called a bait and switch, boys and girls.
Yep.
But he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, 'Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name?'"
What are those, Trevor? Can you tell me what those are?
Works.
Works! That's right, they're works!
"And then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness.'" So all that to say, if we're really Christian, we should really examine our lives.
I should add one point of clarity. And we'll talk about this when we talk about James next week, because James is actually the one that quotes this, or mentions this. And I think Paul mentions it too.
Yeah.
When he says, "Ye who practice lawlessness," why does he say that? Because if you fail in one part of the law, you fail in all of it. That's what James points out, and I believe that's what Paul points out. I believe it's in James too. If you fail at one part of the law, you fail at all of it, which is why we need Christ, because nobody is perfect. And what was it? John 1:8 or something like that. I can't remember what we just looked up because I'm a moron. Hey, I've got it still pulled up in the tab. Yay me. Yay. What does the Bible say? "If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us." So every man sins, And if a man sins in one part of the law, he is guilty of violating the whole of the law, which means he practices lawlessness. So even though you do the stuff and the things, if you break one teeny tiny thing, it's as if you've broken all of it, which is why you need Christ, because you are not and will never be good enough. So, do you have any thoughts? Because I'm just screaming at you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I get so mad. It's not that he believes you can lose your salvation. It's the bait and switch. It's the bait and switch that really gets under my skin.
Yeah,
Because it's
I can
lying.
see it now.
It's lying.
No, you point it out, and it's like, yep.
Yeah.
And ask ourselves questions like, do I really have faith? And does Jesus really know me? And I'm not saying this to freak you out, but to encourage you to know for sure whether you truly have.
And this, boys and girls, is called Orwellian doublethink. Don't freak out, but freak out.
It's freaking me out.
Know for sure by examining yourselves. Yes, become a neurotic mess and micromanage every little sin in your life to see if you did it on purpose or not, so you know whether or not you're going to heaven. Know for sure by guessing your own motives.
Saving faith. So for someone who asks the question, can someone lose their salvation? My answer is this. If someone is truly a child of God who was saved by faith, nothing can separate them from God's love. Therefore, they cannot lose their salvation. But they should always examine their faith until the day they die and are reunited with Jesus.
But be super neurotic about it and make sure you don't do anything bad, just in case you're wrong.
Okay? Also, here's all the points that we shared in the video so that you...
All right, I'm done, and I've got heart palpitations. So that might be the energy drink, that might be this, I don't know. Give me a Catholic that tells me I need to do 37 Hail Marys and hop on one foot to be saved before you give me this crap. I understand doctrinal differences, but I do not like liars. It just drives, like, this is, that was lying. That's called Orwellian doublethink. You're saved by grace through faith, but you're really not. I don't like Orwellian doublethink. It just, anyway. I hope I made my point.
You got your point across, yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anything in the chat? I don't think we've checked in a while.
Nah, we haven't had anybody chatting on it, so.
Sweet. All right, then. So you needed to go check with your check about your kid.
Yeah.
And then we got to do a try not to laugh challenge.
You want to do an outro real quick?
Okay, yes, you're right. All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next one.
All right, while he's doing that, while he's checking on his poor sick children, because apparently the flu is going around or something like that. If you don't want to see these awkward transitions, subscribe! Okay. And I think we are going to go into more detail about salvation and faith and works. I'm not 100% sure because the whole criterion for the debate hasn't been made exactly clear. I do know we are going to go over James 2. And we're also going to debate Sola Scriptura, which is a whole other subject. And that's with Jeremiah. He was kind enough to go back and forth with us on the chat last week, and we are looking forward to speaking to him. And we are going to... The only thing I know for sure about the topic is that it's a conversation about faith and works, which, this pertains to. So... the next thing that we're doing, I honestly don't know anything about because basically it's a try not to laugh challenge, which I've never done before. So while I'm waiting on Trevor, I guess I will kind of continue to reiterate on this. If you want to see a good channel on why you can't lose your salvation and you want more information, a guy who's a lot kinder and more even sounding than I am, you can go to Eternally Saved Through Christ. He's where I've gotten the bulk of my scriptures from. Otherwise, it would have just taken forever to find all of what I have found for the debate next week. And he's got some very interesting thoughts, so I encourage you to look for him. The whole lose your salvation thing, frankly, on YouTube is way easier to find. So you can just kind of look up, can you lose your salvation? And you're going to get, I would say, if my memory be true, you're going to get a lot more guys saying you can't lose your salvation, or saying you can lose your salvation than you can't. And so it's probably going to be a little easier to find their side of it. I would guess. I'd be surprised if I was wrong. But yeah, if you want the other side of the argument that you can't lose your salvation, eternally saved through Christ, that is a great YouTube channel. And I hope I have made my point clear that I'm not so much upset, at least as it pertains to this video, I'm not so much upset about the guy having a different opinion. It's just this Walter Cronkite, I'm going to be neutral and play it fair and be the level-headed guy in the conversation. I mean, honestly, anytime you see somebody doing that, it is a good bet that they're lying, because everybody's got an opinion, everybody's got an angle, and I would just prefer if people didn't hide it, frankly. And so my aggravation is not so much about the works thing as it is about the fact that this is a works guy clearly trying to disguise what he's saying as a faith message. And he's just playing word games to get it done. So that is all I have to say about that. Now, while we are still waiting on Trevor, I got to find something else to talk about. Let's see. So earlier in the night, I guess we can go back to talking about Brandon Biggs for a few minutes until Trevor gets back. I think I've said my opinion on the guy quite a bit repeatedly, but it just goes to show. And I'm mainly curious. I am kind of curious what you guys think about it, because I can't make up my mind on the dude. I will say this: if you don't find the blonde hair girl with the French curls or something tomorrow, or you don't find these Iranians he's talking about and there being some sort of weird attempt on Trump's life tomorrow, I mean, like, obviously I hope the attempt is thwarted, but, you know, to me, it's like, yes, he's right, doctrinally speaking, about, you know, the point of prophecy is so the person can turn. It's like, so whatever bad thing is being promised doesn't happen. I mean, you see that in Jonah. You see that in other portions of the scripture. There's a story in Jeremiah that I like that demonstrates the point quite well, because if my memory serves me correct, Jeremiah, well, I think we refuted that last time. Anyway, point is, you can see prophecy changing. And so there are some things that are meant to happen no matter what, but a lot of things are warnings. And so for him to say that I am telling you this so everybody will pray and it won't happen, like, doctrinally speaking, that is true. But, yeah, it does kind of seem like a cop-out, because obviously you can just continue to move the goalpost and move the goalpost and move the goalpost. So I don't know if the guy is telling the truth or not. I really don't, and I am quite confused by the ear thing. I don't think that's just scattershot luck. So, but I don't know. Since Trevor isn't here and we're not playing anything, I feel safe messing with the volume. So I'm actually going to click on the video and see if I can get the super chats up and running. So if somebody comments confused, I can actually say something. So no, the last thing is Jen going, LOL, me too. So, okay, well, if somebody else comments, we'll read it. But, let's see. Yeah. So, okay. Trying to think of something else. So, I guess the other thing we talked about was the iRobot thing. And as far as the movie itself is concerned, I would highly recommend it. It is one of Will Smith's best. It's kind of been going through a rocky time of late, but this is, you know, peak Will Smith, you might say. And it's a pretty good movie. Let's see. I guess something else we could do is we could go over the Terminator Salvation review, since that's the most recent thing on Mind Matters News, and that ought to kill enough time for Trevor to get back. So, as I have been mentioning off and on throughout the night, I am a writer for Mind Matters News, and every Saturday I post a review about a movie, and I try to go pretty in-depth about the individual scenes in the movie. You might think of it, of course, I'm nowhere nearly as smart as this guy, but you might think of it as kind of like Moeller's video essays, only they're actually essays. But Moeller is much better at this than I am. Like, he made for example, I did a review on Alien Romulus not too long ago, and he did a review on Alien Romulus, and I kind of think he spanked me as far as my points are concerned. So, yeah, but that's basically what I do, is it's kind of these long, in-depth reviews. And we are starting with Terminator Salvation, a better film than Terminator 3, which is true. So, for those of you who don't remember, Terminator Salvation is about... It's basically with Christian Bale playing John Connor, and it's taking place actually in the post-apocalyptic future. The movie doesn't age very well in this respect because the Terminator Salvation storyline actually takes place in 2018. So the future is now the past, and that kind of ruins the immersion just a hair. But anyway, it's still a good movie. Basically, Skynet happened, the robot war commenced anyway, Judgment Day wasn't stopped. And it's a better movie because, number one, I think it fixes one of the main problems in Terminator 3. That is that, it's mentioned in Terminator 3 that John Connor is going to die at some point in the future. Now, this is a huge problem whenever you have a franchise. Like, it's okay to kill a character, like if it's a one-off movie, or even if he dies at the end of a trilogy or something like that. But when you're in the middle of making a franchise and you kill off your main character, like Alien 3 did with Ripley, well, now the franchise has nowhere to go. So what I believe Terminator Salvation actually is it is an attempt to basically make up for Terminator 3 and try to fix that problem, because Terminator Salvation was actually originally meant to be a trilogy. Well, you can't have a trilogy if your main character is supposed to be dead, because if you hold to that plot line, then you've got to tease his death for 3 movies, and nobody's actually going to care about the story you're telling until after the moment of John's death passes, and he either outwits the prophecy or dies in earnest, and people can actually stand the whatever protagonist they use to replace him. Like Aliens 3 tried to retcon, or Aliens Resurrection tried to retcon Alien 3, but they failed. They failed because they used a clone of Ripley, not the real Ripley, so obviously nobody cared. So Terminator Salvation does something a little bit different, and it basically introduces a new character called Marcus, and Marcus is a death row inmate, and he gives his body to science. And the movie goes on from there. And thank goodness, Trevor, you're back, because my goodness, I was having to review a completely different essay. And if you want to know about the rest of that review series, go to Mind Matters News and read my stuff, because we're moving on. So, welcome back. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So, you had a Try Not to Laugh challenge. First of all, did you send me the link?
Let me link it to your send.
Yeah, I need the link.
Share to our Zoom meeting in the chat. Paste. Enter. There you go.
All right, I see it. Give me a sec. Dude, I had nowhere to go. I was like, I don't know how to tease a Try Not to Laugh challenge for 5 minutes. So I just wound up I wound up recapping the rest of the live stream and then talking about the next review.
Did you already open it?
Not yet. Hang on.
Not yet.
All right, I gotta copy and paste it.
Make sure it opens.
Well, it's not letting me do it. It's like, send an emoji. Why?
What?
Yeah, it's not.
Is it sending you?
There we go. Good night. Sorry, it was just being stubborn, dude. So, hang on. So, you might want to, introduce us, since this is your baby.
Yeah, I'll open it.
No, I mean introduce the last episode.
You mean on the Salvation?
No, because we already finished Salvation. that video.
Oh, you mean the last?
Yeah, the last episode, which is the try not to laugh.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right, let's skip the ad and then pause.
All right, I got it. Okay, so your turn.
Ready?
You're up. Yep.
All right, welcome back to Try Not to F podcast. Faith, fiction, and folklore, where we try not to F it up like I just did. And today it's me and Gary, or Gary and me. How are you, Gary?
I am swell, sir. What do you have for me today?
So, I kind of wanted to see, well, end on a lighter note this evening, and see if I can get you to laugh.
Okay.
So
is my express goal to not laugh then? Because I've seen these on YouTube, but everybody always laughs like 3 seconds into them. So I'm like assuming you're supposed to say you're not going to laugh and then laugh way too soon so that the video seems extra funny and your video does better or something?
Yes. So the
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to super duper try not to laugh. Is that right?
You're not supposed to laugh.
Okay. So
this whole video.
So I'm committed to the not laughing thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you laugh, you got to pause and say why you laugh.
Okay.
Or if you want to give a comment or
what counts as a laugh? Does a count, or does a ha ha ha, or like, or do I just have to be perfectly stoic?
You can smile. Did you ever watch Markiplier's Try Not to Laugh?
Yeah, but he laughed like 30 seconds in.
Okay, just don't laugh.
Okay, so just don't laugh. Okay.
And I'll be the rule person. If you break it, then you lose.
Well, okay. But what counts as a laugh? Is a smile count as a laugh?
No, a smile doesn't count. You can smile through the whole time.
Okay, so I can smile Riley, but I cannot laugh.
Exactly.
Okay.
So any type of burst or fake sneeze or, going off camera and busting up muting your mic.
So I can't cheat then, is what you're telling me.
You can't mute your mic and bust up laughing out of a camera shot.
Got it. All right. I got you. Okay.
So you might have to do some pause game, because what I found was a compilation of the best of the internet, what it says. And this is from the Daily Dose of Internet. That's their channel. They have lots of these.
All right, Daily Dose of Internet. Let's see if you can break me. Here we go.
No laughing.
And the laughing, yes.
No laughing.
No laughing. None. How much? Okay, well, we'll just get into it.
These are the best videos of 2024.
Don't blow it out. Happy birthday. Shoot up.
That was impressive. Good job. You saved the baby. Granny almost died.
This is the true definition of a sleeper build.
It's okay.
It's a very skinny man. Don't let that camel in your car.
So
I broke the glass. What do you think was going to happen?
With me, and she has crazy hair. So say hi, Alea. Say hi. Here. Say.
For some reason, this dog faints every time it gets scared.
That almost got me. Yay, property damage.
Oh yeah, I will take
Charlie, one piece. You don't want to knock them all out.
I think there's something wrong with this dog. These parents did a fake tongue prank on their daughters.
Oh my god.
That emu deserved it. It deserved it for being an emu.
This raccoon was choking on some food, and this guy saved his life.
Sexist sexist joke here.
A little bit lower, Bill. Upward motion. There you go. There it is. A little bit lower.
Let's save his life. Let's go. You're not going to die on that one. Yes. You're not going to die.
Just
Whoops.
like that
This
congressman.
fish somehow found a pacifier.
That fish is wondering why it can't breathe. Good job, Granny.
Granny wins.
Oh my god!
This has to be the worst public proposal of all time.
That would be so embarrassing.
Avoid growing up. Avoid growing up as fast as you can. Oh, that's
In my
horrid.
life, I swear. No. Hey, may Zeus himself strike me
Oh,
down
don't
if
do
I'm
that.
lying. Hey, didn't strike me though.
This zip line
That's a
is
good
way
point.
too close to the swamp.
Hi.
Why did they give the bird coffee?
I think you're just trying to stir. I've actually done that.
This old dog was excited to try out his new staircase.
I think that's called possession.
This cat owner realized that their cat refuses to eat their food unless they also have a side salad.
Salad.
That cat can't even
This person
qualify as a
accidentally
cat.
dropped their phone into alligator-infested waters.
Hope you die of lithium poisoning.
Well, that's not very nice.
It's an alligator. It's not a person.
Apertura automática.
Ma che brava, Nisso.
This cat must be a paid actor to know how to react to this fake knife. This poor kid was scared of the Halloween costume her husband was wearing.
Hello. Oh, hey.
These children were way too calm about
Poor
being
kid.
chased by a coyote.
There's a coyote. It's right there.
That's not funny. Those things will kill you.
No.
Rabid, mangy little.
Yeah.
I could never go on vacation.
this
Running my
part of the try
renovation
not
and
to laugh?
contracting business took
No,
up all
it's
of
an
my
ad.
time until I found jobs.
What do you think he's trying to say?
Video's running just a little loud.
Here's some good news. After 4 years, this dog finally learned how to use the doggy door.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
4 years.
This magician figured out how to move his fingers around.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Monsieur. Someone else? That?
Whoa.
What's that? What's that?
It's cold.
One of my subscribers recorded a video of a tornado that somehow spawned on an indoor pool.
Well, that's okay, but that's not funny.
No?
Oh.
I don't think.
Here,
What are
you
you
did.
doing?
This
That bird
baby
is all
gorilla really
natural.
wants his toy.
Oh, sweet boy. Yeah, I want that.
This chunky monster of a boy.
I've seen this one, I think.
He's not like he's not overeating. I know that. Look at.
That almost got me, though.
Almost.
Tiki. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Be a great alarm.
Silence.
Wait for it. Yeah.
I need an egg. Thank you.
So you guys will leave the property for 24 hours.
chicken.
If you don't right now, I'm gonna make it 6 months.
Would you kiss me though?
Okay, it's now 6 months.
No,
Leave the property.
I can't.
This guy got a tattoo and immediately passed out.
Do you have an iPhone?
Luckily, the artist was able to catch him before he got hurt.
Good catch.
She tried to pick up this firefighter. This company was doing some repairs in the attic when this happened.
Honey, I can do it myself.
Nope. See ya.
He's all scared. I see you. You're scared. Okay.
Wasn't scared.
You. Relax.
This dog is an amazing artist.
That's gross.
And it's all filled with worms. Because they do that when they have worms.
Poor dog. See ya.
Good job. That's gonna stink.
They stole themselves.
You can see food go down this dog's throat whenever they eat.
Whoa.
Sir, you have a bottle. Your bottle. Your bottle. On your car. No. You got a bottle? Oh my God. Yes. Hey, what? Hey, where are you going?
I'm gonna show you. I know how to do a cartwheel.
Oh no.
This dog scream sounded exactly like a human.
Hey!
Turco. Turkish, you look Turkish.
Come on, Joe.
Oh, no.
Come on.
Don't do it.
Smash
Don't.
it, JoJo.
There's only gonna end one.
Oh my God.
This guy's
Well,
truck
that
was
didn't
being
go the way
towed
I
away,
expected.
so he tried to save it by stealing the tow truck that was taking his car.
Insurance will pay for it.
Hey, Nash, should we go outside? Psych! You can't go anywhere.
This poor cat was
That's
halfway
so
to
funny.
heaven.
Ella. Girl, stop. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Was it in pain?
I have no idea.
This truck driver had no idea that he was pushing a car.
Oh, I bet he did.
He did eventually figure it out. This guy broke the AI drive-through voice, so a human employee had to take over.
What would you like?
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 cokes, 100 tater tots, 100 pizzas, 100 tenders, 100 meatballs, 100 coffees, 55 wings, 55 shakes, 55 pancakes, 55 pasta, 55 peppers, and 155 taters.
Can I take you there?
Sorry.
I ain't never in
The
my
AI is
life
gonna take over the world,
seen
guys.
a donkey and a dog be best friends.
Birthday to you.
Why you keep looking at me, fam?
Blow out your candle.
That's a relief. I was a little worried there.
That hurt.
Damaged.
Done that.
My car is damaged.
Where?
Right here. If you want to see, you can come on. Why are you hitting my car, lady?
Because it's not damaged. You. Would you tell her to get away from me? She's crazy.
Okay.
How many rocks? 1, 2, 3. Oh no!
Don't eat him, kid.
Athena.
This dog has a perfect smile. This guy found a tactical way to escape from the police.
Cartwheel. Works every time.
We know
This
what he
poor
wants to
dog
be when he
fell for
grows
a
up.
fake hand prank.
Yep.
A meteorologist in
almost
North
got me.
Dakota was trying to burn ice off his driveway when he accidentally made a fire tornado.
That's actually really cool.
That is cool.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
I think this guy invented his own physics.
Cows go boo, people go ba, and you go.
The turbulence while flying over South America was so bad that someone ended up in the ceiling of the plane.
I think he's okay.
The amazing thing is that he wasn't hurt.
He didn't have his seatbelt on, apparently.
British
Take your
humor
bike.
is really something else.
He's doing well. Oh, mate. What's your secret, mate?
Now, who decided to put an air cannon there?
Oh, don't do that. Eminem.
Trying to avoid eye contact never ever works. I have never seen a cat run in cursive before.
Hey, look, Trevor, it's another ad. Aren't you excited?
No. No,
They wanted to introduce their new kitten to their older cat.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
A bear was seen walking through the woods without any arms. Despite its handicap, this bear has still managed to find a way to grow and learn on their own.
Look, Dan ain't got no legs.
Someone lost their phone on this ride, but this worker was in perfect position.
I didn't know I did
Good for him.
Puppy?
Great catch.
No, he's 17-year-old, bro.
He's 17. Looks like a puppy.
Please. Cold B. What? Warm him up. Give him a blanket. Old beer!
I really don't know if this is the best way to escape from predators.
Seems like a good strategy to me.
It's working.
This guy was just released from prison, but his family asked some police officers to pretend that he was getting arrested again.
Yes, my guy. Hello. How you doing?
That's cruel.
Where'd you get yours?
That is an ugly dog.
These people are trying to stop their furniture from blowing away.
No, don't let it go. Please.
Someone lost their phone, so this guy held it up until someone came to claim it.
Abba, 你说鱼
They asked these kids what they wanted to do after graduating from kindergarten.
Oh no.
I want to be pregnant.
So why did he pick the most awkward place possible to propose to her?
Whoops.
This might be the dumbest deer of all time.
That's actually happened to me before.
Are you serious?
The chance of something like this happening is so crazy.
Wow.
Does anyone know how this magic trick works?
3, 4, 5, 6. Here 6. This is 9. This is 6. This is 9, right? Yeah. This is 6. This is 6. And this is 9.
Wait, what?
How did he do that?
Are you okay, honey?
How does something like this even happen?
It's called alcohol.
I'm not doing it, baby. Nothing's happened.
God damn. Anybody ever see a turtle run? Hey, I was gonna... Okay.
This cat is actually evil.
Worshipped in Egypt, mind you.
It was his first time learning how to pet a cat.
Raylan, can you... No, stop. Raylan, can you pet the cat? Pet the cat? Good boy.
Oh, she's a good egg making me my bed, isn't she?
Quincy,
Good morning.
This goat got scared and fainted.
Fainting goats.
Yeah.
Ouch.
In case you didn't know, sheep wag their tails like dogs if they're excited to see you. This dad tried to save his trampoline from being blown away in the wind.
Bricks.
Bennett, get out of there.
They will get taken.
Pretty strong storm, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Bennett!
Bye, trampoline.
Oh.
Wow.
Hey, let's go, Malcolm Mamba. Oh, yeah.
They had a ceremony to announce the opening of their new office.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This magic trick freaks me out.
Stomach. You ready? Yeah. No.
He couldn't understand why he was getting a traffic ticket.
It's not okay.
Holy.
Whoops.
Bonjour, on m'a dit qu'il y avait un spectacle ce soir à 20h45. C'est...
Wouldn't that be a ride?
Yeah, that sounds horrifying.
What's up, Mr. Cool?
This lumberjack perfectly cut down this tree.
I've seen Josh
This
do
hippo
that.
chased down a
That's
boat
pretty cool.
and broke its
That's pretty
motor.
cool. Yeah, that thing's trying to kill you, man.
They killed their engine. Broke it.
I just made a cup of tea for myself. The whole floor is wet. I just picked up my cup of tea and the bottom stayed.
I think I've had that
This
happen
has to be
before.
Now taxes.
Hi,
is getting up
ad.
to $4,000 instantly.
$4,000 ad.
Oh, that'll buy a stick of gum.
There's another.
Happiest dog of all time.
Good morning, Maggie. Oh my goodness. Hi, baby.
Whoops.
Perra loca. Oh.
I'm gonna get pecked in the head, dude. Oh, nope, never mind.
Ladies and
My
gentlemen,
phone.
the President of the United States.
Can I fake laugh?
If you want to, but you
Come
gotta
here.
pause it.
These people ran away to safety after hearing this tire make a weird noise. Here's a smart way to get Mom to come back home.
There's Mama.
Yeah.
You're not for the streets, Priscilla.
Tornado. Oh my god. In a second. I'm just taking.
This turtle didn't like the taste of this worm he was trying to eat.
It was that trampoline from earlier.
Yeah, right?
That's not a worm.
Yeah, that's spikes. That's, yeah.
Perfect. This one got me.
That's smart. Yeah, good luck.
It's where they live.
Oh!
So, I guess you don't need two legs to break dance. This poor robot collapsed after working for over 20 hours straight with no breaks.
Hey, iRobot.
Faulty
Even when he was
machinery.
asleep, this paramedic thought he was still at work.
Is there any particular reason why you'd like to go to the hospital? What symptoms specifically makes you think you might be having a stroke?
How much does a new pair of pants cost?
You know, it's hard to think about.
I mean, if you're that bad off, I'll buy you some jeans.
That's the design, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the design. People are into holes in pants now.
This would be terrible.
This random giant blade came out of nowhere and hit this building. Someone dropped their phone into a chimp enclosure, and he was nice enough to give it back. This dog brought over a stick that had a hornet's nest on it.
Yeah, don't do that.
That is the end of this video, or we hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Later.
How'd I do, Trevor?
You passed, but that was the easy version.
It was the easy version.
That was the easy version. I put another link in the chat of a harder one to pass.
Well, we're gonna wait till next time because we went through the whole 30-minute thing.
Oh yeah.
I think try not to laugh challenges where you don't laugh are boring, apparently.
Then you win.
Do I win? Okay.
So we'll do that other one for next time.
We'll do the other one for next time, okay? All right. Well, Mr. Trevor, I don't know where to go from here. Do you want to close this out?
All right. Well, that's gonna end the night. We wanted to end the night on a positive note. So if you stayed with us through the whole stream, I'm not seeing anybody in here anymore. But thank you for watching. And we will see you next time.
Adios. Bye.